Space, the final frontier. Join us for a bold conversation. Our prime directive, to recap our favorite Star Trek shows, both new and old. To engage in debate about all things Trek. Prepare to energize with phasers set to stun.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Phasers Set to Stun, where we continue to show our love for everything Star Trek in this ongoing series from a film by a podcast, which focuses on every quadrant of the expanding universe of Trek by covering television, animation, movies, directors, and more. Plotting the course, as always, is your core Trek crew. I'm Scott Hoffman.
I'm David Burns.
And I'm Wayne Whited.
And we're continuing the coverage of the newest voyages in the franchise with Star Trek Discovery Season 5, the final season. Today we're covering Episode 7, Erigah. But before we get too much further, as always, Black Alert. There's spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen the latest episodes, please stop, go see them, and come back to join us. So, without further ado, Dave, can you remind our viewers what happened in this last episode?
I sure can. As you said, it's Episode 7, Erigah, written by M. Raven Metzner and directed by John Dudikowski. Mole and Locke have been captured by the Federation and are beamed on board the Discovery, where it is learned that Locke is badly injured and is fading fast. But to make matters worse, the Breen are on their way, demanding fugitives be turned over to them. Knowing they can't turn them over because of their knowledge of what they are seeking, a solution must be made, and that includes making a stand against the Breen. Burnham and crew work furiously to find an answer from not only Mole and Locke, but also the next piece of the puzzle, and to save the Federation from certain destruction.
Yeah, I'm sure we all agree, this was another great episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's going in such a good direction. And this was, I think it's what we've been wanting. Even though, following the progenitor quest has been really exciting. It's interesting to take a kind of a pause in that and get a little bit more info on Mole and Locke's relationship and to spend a little bit more time with them.
Yeah. I think one of the greatest things about this season, and this episode really it shines in, is the relationship between Mole and Locke. I really love their romance, their love for one another, and it really, really shines in this episode, especially later on in it. When Locke and Mole are standing there, and I think it was the doctor who was standing there trying to understand their relationship, or not really the relationship, but trying to say that he understands where Locke was coming from, and Locke was basically, no, you don't know any of that. She does. She loves me for who I am. Our differences, something along those lines. But it was just written so well. And when he said that, I was like, damn, man, this is a really good relationship we're seeing in this season.
Yeah, loves me for the differences, not despite them.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had 3 stories that we've followed this season. Here, finally in this episode, they've all come together, and it actually works. As you said, this episode we needed it. Plus we get the actual Breen entering the picture finally. It's much different from their presence like 800 years back from Deep Space Nine. They were very formidable in this episode. They're right now, Starfleet doesn't stand a chance against them. I'm interested in that. I mean, it had me glued to the screen the entire episode.
Did you see the size of that ship?
Yeah.
No, that dreadnought is crazy. Yeah. Yeah. No, it really does. It did a great job of reinforcing the threat of the Breen. When they were working with the Dominion, it was almost like they were a little bit more like soldiers. Like we didn't get a lot of their infrastructure. We didn't get a lot of their culture. It's very interesting. Like there are aspects of it that remind me of Klingon culture. There are aspects that remind me of Romulan culture.
Oh yeah.
But it definitely positions them as a formidable adversary, not just for the size of their ship, the size of their army, but their approach to what could have been a diplomatic situation, but they were just absolute in their demands.
Yeah.
And I really got the vibes. Like when we first were introduced to the Borg, in the Next Generation. I mean, I know this isn't Brain's first introduction to us, but I really got those vibes in this episode from them, where you're just like, man, we are at the edge. Like, this is doom. You know, how's the Federation going to get out of this? You know, I had all of those vibes going on in this episode.
Yeah, and you're right, Scott. I mean, you know, back in Deep Space Nine when we saw them, they were being used simply as foot soldiers, and here now we're actually seeing them as a direct threat to the Federation. You know, I'm not sure how they managed to survive and flourish during, you know, after the burn, when the Federation and all the other races seem to be decimated. But the fact that they haven't stepped foot in that part of the galaxy and that part of the Federation could be a reason for it. But I like the fact that we're now exploring this race that we've heard about for decades. We're finally seeing and learning more about them.
Yeah. And you know, this is another episode that Raynor gets to shine.
Oh yeah.
You know, so many episodes in a row now, we have seen his character just grow and grow and grow, and we keep talking about it. But he gives Burnham the answer of what she needs to do to get them out of this situation, didn't realize it. And she uses that, you know, to use the Primarch and all of them against each other, you know. And it was brilliant. It really was, and how she got out of that. I mean, granted, it's a big mess at the end that it turned into, thanks to Mole. But you know, still, I thought that was really cool, and how they made Raynor give the answer and not realize it.
And we got more background on him. You know,
Yeah,
we found
we
out
did.
that, you know, he has a past with the Breen. He lost his family. It just, for a character that was just introduced this season, he's getting a lot of depth added to him.
And I'm glad. I really like his character.
I do too.
You know, and at first he was rubbing me the wrong way. And it was meant to be like that.
Yeah.
He even did that with Burnham, you know, and then Burnham, again, in this episode, had to like back him down a little bit. But you can tell they respect one another. It's not at that level that we get with Riker and Picard, but you can still see that respect for one another right there, even though there's that rubbing the wrong way sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's definitely true to his word, right? He's not going to change who he is. He's respectful of Burnham's command. He's respectful of Admiral of Vance and of everybody else in the room. But he's definitely going to make his opinion heard. Right. And given his history of the Breen, I think he has every right to. When they use his background as his info to try to negotiate their way out of that Breen situation, that I wouldn't want to play poker with anybody in that room, because they had to have ice in their veins to get through that. Like, at first they called them on it and they were like, you know, a little kid wouldn't buy this ploy that you're trying. Right. And they doubled down and went deeper and deeper into it, and ultimately it worked. But man, that was a tense situation.
Another thing that I really love that they did here is when the Breen appeared right away, you know, on the starbase there. I love how the Primarch refused to talk in English. You know, he had his translator do it for him. He eventually would, and I think he even made the comment, you know, I'm going to speak in your tongue, just so that you understand me, or whatever it was. But I love, at first, you could tell he's at that where I'm above you, and I'm not going to speak in your tongue, because I feel that's very disrespectful to me. You know, it's what it felt like. He was giving those vibes. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah. And I love the sound design of their speech patterns.
Oh yeah.
For the Breen, when they're speaking in their native language.
Yeah.
That it's just so cool.
It's so refined. It's so much better than what we'd heard before.
Yep.
Yeah. I love the negotiation scenes that they had between Breen and Tarina. You know, you're right. You know, it's like she was cool, but she's a Vulcan. You know, I think Tara Rosling plays Tarina wonderfully. You know,
Absolutely.
we haven't really talked too much about her so far, but I think she's doing a fantastic job. It's nice seeing more of her in this episode. Plus, we got to see a lot more of Jet Reno again, and that's I always love seeing her. We've hardly seen her at all this season, and and we're learning. You know, I'm really curious about her background. Every time we see her, we learn a little bit more about her, and the more I like her.
Yep. Yeah. I think, you know, we always talk about the visual effects of this show. Man, they just impress you in every episode that just keeps coming. You know, the Breen ship showing up and just how gigantic it was, and just dwarfed over everything. But the beginning again, they like to blow you out of the water with those really incredible shots. You know, we get that opening shot of Locke and Maul that are in that. It's not an escape pod. It's a what is that? That they
Wasn't it like a
escape
little
from the
shuttle?
Enterprise. Like I don't know if it's a shuttle. It was something in the regards.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they go from that, and then they move over to the Discovery, and all in like one shot, and they go into the ship. As they're walking and talking, man, I just love how they do that stuff, man. It's so cool.
Yeah. And that coded special offer, I thought that was kind of a nice touch. That's
Yes.
a SOS for couriers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a fascinating development we got here was Locke's lineage and where he fits with their societal structure. It seems like he's well positioned to, if he's brought back from the dead, which I assume, I mean, we called that a while ago. As soon as they kind of mentioned the progenitor tech might be able to bring people back to life. I wonder if we'll use that.
Yeah.
Right. It does make me curious to see if that's going to be, a possible turning point for the Breen, if he's brought back and he takes the leadership of the Breen. If he'd be willing to, at least open talks. I don't think it's going to be, we're all friends, but I thought that was a very interesting development, that he's somebody who has the keys to the kingdom, basically, but doesn't want it.
Right.
Yeah.
But everybody else wants it.
Exactly.
Right.
Another thing that there are so many cool scenes in this episode. I love the fighting sequence that they did when Maul was escaping. I thought that was choreographed extremely well.
Oh, yeah.
So whoever the choreographing of this episode, they did an outstanding job in that fight sequence. Even Colbert getting in there and giving his punches and trying to stop her from escaping. But I think what really got me really like, whoa, did that just happen? And you see it in Burnham's face too when Maul turns on them and actually goes with the Breen. And they don't want you to find out what I know and what they're looking for. And she totally turns on them and uses everything to her advantage, to not only against the Breen but against the Federation too. I just thought that was a really cool twist. I mean, you could see it in Burnham's face. You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You could just see it.
It was very chess-like, right?
Yeah.
All these pieces being moved in, getting to see her leverage their marriage as a way to not only save Locke, possibly, but wipe out his Erigah at the same time. Damn, that was clever.
It was.
And it seems like it's a buried gun that's been just waiting to be used. But
it's one of those situations that you think that's not going to happen. They're not going to go that way, where they're going to, a character is going to team up with the Breen and just go on. I mean, you see what she's doing. You really do. She's using the Breen to her advantage, of course. But you don't really think they're going to go that route. And then when they do it, you're like, well, damn, they did. So good job to the writers. Well done.
As far as cast, it was great to see Commander Non come back. She's always been a favorite character of mine. We've only seen her occasionally, but her introduction here, we saw that in the preview clip as kind of the head of security in this situation. And like you said, in the choreography, seeing Non in those fight scenes was very refreshing. I thought that was very appropriate for that character. Well, let's move on to the section of this series where we usually talk about which character shined the most. Dave, what's your pick?
I'm going to go with Maul. Again, Eve Harlow did an outstanding job in this role, but not only with her incredible fight sequence that we see where she escapes, even though she doesn't really get too far, which we knew she wouldn't anyway, but we get to see how much she loves Locke and how deeply in love with Locke that she is, and how much she cares for him. And, you get the understanding of that character going forward, and you see going back of why she's doing what she's doing. But her intelligence, she not only can fight, but she's smart, and she uses that to her advantage. She doesn't care who she tricks. She doesn't care who she uses except Locke, because she cares deeply for him and will protect him at all costs. But, when she sees that she's backed into a corner, she realizes what she needs to do. She plays the chess game, and she sides with Breen to get out of that situation with the Federation, and sees that that's her way out. How's she going to do it? I'm looking forward to seeing that. But man, I just thought she shined in this episode.
Yeah, there's a lot. It'll be very interesting to see. We've only got a couple episodes left to see exactly how they unravel all this stuff and then end the series. It'll be very interesting. Wayne, what about you?
Well, I agree with you 100%, David. I think as a single character, she just shined over everybody else. But I'm going to give it to the Breen race, actually, the whole race itself, because this episode's just been a fascinating look into a Star Trek race that has really been a mystery to us for many years. And with every appearance they've made this season, I believe this is other than Locke. We get to learn a little bit more about them each time. We now know about their command structure. We know about their relationships, their sense of honor, the fact that it's the first visit to the Federation in 800 years. I'm really enjoying that the fact that the writers and producers chose this unexpected race from a long time ago to appear, because this is a surprise. Before this season even started, I had no idea that this would be one of the main villains of the season, and I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, they're really using them to great effect.
Yeah, good call on that, Wayne. That's good choice. Good choice. Scott, what about you?
Well, so it's interesting. I kind of have something in common with both of your choices, Dave, because I find it very hard to choose between Mull and Locke. I must have rewritten this like 2 or 3 times, and I was like, it's one, it's the other. But Wayne, I'm going to give it to our main Breen, Locke.
Great choice.
Yeah.
I think there was so much more significance and depth given to his character. Not only his emotional investment with Mull, but his understanding of his role in the Breen Empire and his complete disdain for it. And there are things worse than death. He doesn't want to go back. He hates everything that he's forced into, not necessarily everything that he hates about his home world, probably, and his culture, but where he's being kind of positioned and probably used in that. That heartfelt, yes, yet misguided plot to help Mull escape. Kind of unfortunate that he had to use the entire dose. I'm sure he couldn't just kind of pick and choose and make it not as bad.
Right.
But he essentially ended his own life. It seems like his willingness to, self-sacrifice for those that he loves, his temperament, it seems like I said before, he'd be well suited to lead the breed into the future without necessarily compromising who they are, if he has the chance or any kind of interest in doing so.
Yeah, no, it's a good choice, Scott.
Yeah.
Those two characters are just so fantastic and written so well. I love them both, and it is. If you went either way, it's a good choice. All three, everybody's got a good choice on this one for sure.
Well, I think all three of us will agree that the writers have done a fantastic job at creating an antagonist this season. They're the highlight. They're really the highlight of the season. We love watching them.
And what's cool about we've always know that a good villain, you care about them, right?
Yes.
And
yes,
these almost, are they villains? Are they not villains? Because we see what they're doing. We see what they're trying to do. I know they're using things and doing things that they really shouldn't, but you feel for them, and that's what you should for a villain, because if you care for them, you're going to care about the story, and that's where we're at.
It gives them so many different layers. They're not just one-sided villains, two-dimensional characters. These are three-dimensional great creations by the writers, and that's why we care about them. That's why we want to know more about them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So of all the characters that we've seen in this episode, who would it have, if you could be any one of these characters, Wayne, who would it be and why?
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure I'd want to be anybody in this week's episode because
right?
They're all in a really bad spot. I wouldn't want to be looking down the Breen's guns, but I guess I guess I'm going to choose Reno. Just because I've liked her character, and she has such an interesting background that we learn more and more about her, and she's got so many great stories to tell, and it's a pity that the series is coming to an end, because I'd really like to see more and explore her character and some of this background, some of this knowledge she knows. I'm hoping that once the series ends, that other writers will take her character, like in novels and comics, and expand her stories, because we just don't have enough of her.
I agree.
Yeah. I think that makes me think I'd love to see her in Starfleet Academy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Seeing,
Oh yeah,
seeing
absolutely.
her work with cadets,
Yeah,
that
I'd
would
be
be
very
interesting.
happy. Yeah.
that would be fantastic. Seeing her as a teacher, oh my God, that would be
Oh, yeah.
hysterical.
She'd
Just
be a
make that a
great
season
teacher.
of it.
Yes,
Yep.
I'd totally watch that.
Dave, what about you? Who's your pick?
So before I give my answer, I do want to make one call out from a character in this episode, and that's Tilly. I want to call
Yeah.
out her the fact that she was heading back to protect her students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, she was stopped. Stamets, said, "We need you. We need to figure this out." And he basically had to talk her into not leaving. But I just want to call her out for that because she was showing respect to her students and was going to go protect them and fight with them. I thought that was awesome of that character.
It is.
Yeah, good call.
But my answer, and it's kind of funny because it's going kind of where Wayne was talking about. I didn't want to be anybody that was in this episode. So technically he's not in it, but he's mentioned. I want to be Saru because he is far away from the fight, so nothing can happen to him.
As far as possible.
Good choice.
Scott, what about you, buddy?
Hard choice. Like, on the one hand, like you said, as far away as possible. On the other hand, there's so many people that had so many important roles in this, so many dynamic roles. I'd go with Paul Stamets, kind of unraveling that Betazoid mystery, having to look at it from different angles, work on with different experts on different parts of the team to try to figure out where they had to go. It seems like kind of a language-based mystery, which I've always thought was interesting. Anytime they had the DC works where you'd have Kryptonian or Interlac that you'd have to translate for the Legion of Superheroes. All those things were always fascinating. So despite the tension and the pressure of that situation, I'd be fascinated to be on that team and just to see where it goes. I do think it's a little slightly disappointing that it doesn't seem like we're going to go to Beta Z.
Yeah,
It's like,
I just say,
here's a clue that takes you to Beta Z, but not quite. You're just going to go to the giant traveling intergalactic bookmobile and try to find this one work that's hopefully not in a landfill.
Well, I mean, I guess we've been to Beta Z before, so maybe they just figured we'd seen enough of it.
Yep, exactly.
I guess.
Okay. How about Easter eggs?
Well, there were a few in this episode. Rayner mentions using Thoron fields and Duranium shadows to make Starfleet headquarters look like it's more heavily armored. I laughed when he said that because I recognized it right away. This is the same tactic that Commander Sisko used against the Cardassians in Deep Space Nine's pilot episode Emissary when they were trying to protect the wormhole. Yeah. And Tilly states that the last time the Breen were in Federation space was 800 years ago. That is a direct reference to the event when the Breen attacked San Francisco during the Dominion War in the 7th season episode, The Changing Face of Evil, which was right at the end of the season. Really good episode if you want to catch that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking about that when we get to Deep Space Nine.
Oh yeah, and I look forward to that season too. And then the final big Easter egg I noticed was at the end of the episode when Discovery warps off to the Badlands. This is that area of space between Bajor and Cardassia, which is known for its plasma storms. That's where the Maquis used to hide between their attacks during Deep Space Nine. And it's also where the USS Voyager was when they were pulled and flung off to the Delta Quadrant in their pilot episode Caretaker.
Oh, interesting.
Ooh. Interesting.
And we get to see it next season. Our next season, I'm sorry, next episode.
Yeah.
Which it was next season.
Yeah, right. I know. Did you guys notice that this is like the second time they've mentioned tribbles this season?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I did.
Like, dude, they must love the tribbles in this season, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Right. They'll be in Starfleet Academy. Tribbles will be teachers. And
I would not be surprised. There'll be something in there.
I wouldn't even...
No, this will be a great place to kind of look at ties to those series. I kind of wonder if we're going to see some Easter eggs in the Badlands. I kind of doubt it. It's not like there's going to be ships floating through, but they're making so many ties. It'll be fascinating to see where that goes. It
will be, and I think we're going to see some interesting things in our next episode.
Yeah, so it's called Labyrinths.
Yep.
And from the clip that I've seen, there's kind of a librarian that greets them and kind of walks them through it. And says, "I just want to take you through this little introductory speech that we always do." And then they're kind of like, "Yeah. Can we skip this?" And they're like, "Sure."
We're kind of in a hurry.
We're not responsible for any destruction, dismemberment, or death that you. If you don't listen to what we say.
That was a fun clip. I actually liked it. I'm looking forward to this episode. And at first I thought the librarian she looked Klingon, but I'm making a guess here. I think she's Zefrosian. I think she's of the same race that the Federation president was in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country.
Oh, yeah.
The ridges on her forehead kind of matched what he did, plus the white hair. So I'm thinking, like I said, I think I was mistaken. I don't think she's Klingon. I think she's that.
Yeah.
Good call, if that is.
I think it'll be very interesting to see. It's probably, I'm being a little too obvious here, but it gave me some Doctor Who vibes, like from the David Tennant specifically.
I see that.
Like Silence in the Library, where it's like, it should just be a place with a lot of books, but it's actually going to be very, very perilous. So,
do you think David Bowie's going to show up?
If Jennifer Connelly is in it, I'm sold. Well, thanks for joining us for another episode of Phaser Set to Stun, diving into Star Trek Discovery. Open a channel and talk to us if you have any thoughts, any predictions, any questions on social. As always, Dave, Wayne, thanks for joining us again.
Always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, love it.
And as always, thank you to our listeners for joining us. Hailing frequencies are always open for you to share your thoughts and questions on social. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and any social channels that you follow. Email us at afilmbypodcast@gmail.com. You can find us online at afilmbypodcast.com. And if you're looking for more exclusive content and swag, send some Latinum our way through Patreon. We'll see you next time for another episode of Phasers Set to Stun.